Hello and welcome back to Arcurus Creates a Westmarches game. So, I have gone through and I have copy-pasted the exploration rules out of Ultimate Campaign, as well as the Getting Lost rules out of the core rulebook, and I've gone ahead and put those into one document, and I've gone ahead and formatted it, and I have made some of the changes that we talked about. So one of the changes that I talked about is a lot of places talk about marshes, and the bestiary talks about swamps. And so I basically make those interchangeable. I have done the same with forest and jungle in there. Something else that I've done as I was looking through here, there was a little part in the Getting Lost rules where if you have 5 ranks in Knowledge Geography or Knowledge Local, it would give you a +2 modifier on to avoid getting lost. So I went ahead and put that in the table because tables are a lot easier to read for players and DMs. They're just a lot easier to read, and the more you can get out of this text and into the table, the easier it is just to see the information you need at a glance. I've also changed it so the Getting Lost rules are all based on hex movement now. So if you move a hex, that's when you make the check. And then for a lot of the recognizing your loss, that sort of thing, I've made that all hex-based for random travel, that sort of thing. I even changed the names in the hex terrain types down here. I am not going to distribute this document. I'm not going to put it in the description or anything. It is simply the rules, just copy pasted directly out of the source books. And to avoid like any legal stuff, I'm just not going to distribute this, but I will tell you exactly how I got to where it is. It's basically copy pasted. You could probably do the same thing off of Archives of Nethys. I'm not sure what they have there that's different. So I'm going to go down to this random map generation part. So just to see how this works. Now I changed this table here so that you could roll twice on this, so you can get more than just difficult or a feature or resource, so that you can get more than that. I also changed settlement here to urban, even though I would probably take that out. And I also changed I adjusted this table a little bit so that difficult is not as common, so I could just get a roll twice on this table. So there we go. So it's all based on d20 rolls. So I'm going to go over here. This is Map Tool. So this is a tool that myself and my friends generally use to play tabletop RPGs. It's really open source. You can do a lot with it. So I'm going to go in the campaign, and I'm going to make a new macro. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this. And I'm going to call this 1d20. So what this is going to do is roll 1d20. There we go. That ought to do it. So apply that. If I run the macro, it ran it more than once because my mouse is double clicking, but as you can see, it's going to roll 1d20 and give me an output. So every time I click that button, it's going to give me a new output. So this might be a little bit fiddly to draw, but we've started with a blank map. And to imitate Westmarches, I have our town here in this hex, and it's going to be in plains. And then I have ocean hexes out here to the east. So you literally can't go east. You have to go west in some way, shape, or form. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to our Curris's markers here, miscellaneous. I do have an invisible marker, so this thing is just invisible. Cancel. It's on the background. We're going to snap it to grid. We're going to make it medium size. Make it a little bit smaller. Half is small. Unsnap from grid. Stop double clicking. Stop double clicking. So yeah, I can do things like that. I also have like a hex hider. This is meant for 5th edition D&D here. But anyways, we're over here on the background. So let's say, let's grab a token. We'll use Epic Tordek. Whoops, Epic Tordek, you're in the wrong place. You need to go to the token. Epic Tordek, Watcher of Games. We're going to set your size to, yeah, about that size. Alright, so we've got our Epic Tordek, our party, so he's going to move into this hex here, and let's see what we get. So if we go back here, we're going to roll for the terrain type, we're going to roll for the terrain element. So a 12 is another plains biome. So let's go ahead and get that drawn in. There we go. Let's go ahead and move Epic Tordek off of there. And let's drop in an invisible marker. Plains 1, we'll call it. It's not going to be visible. Yeah, let's show this dialogue. Okay, so we have Plains 1, and that's going to be on the hidden layer, so let's go ahead and move this. Alright, so let's do another roll to determine if it has a terrain element. 10. Hunting ground. So if we go up here to the plains, hunting ground, ambush predators abound in these plains hexes. So we can take that, put it in here, put that in the notes. Okay. So if I click on that, I get that information now. So let's go here and do it again. 18. And 18 is as previous terrain type, so that is going to be plains. And let's get a terrain element. 8. It's another hunting ground, so it's going to be exactly the same as this one. So we can grab this, copy, paste. So that's hunting ground 1. Oh, did another double click. And I know it did because these little numbers didn't come up. So that's exactly the same. And this is, you know, just creating the map using these rules. Cancel, please. Let's go ahead and move Epic Tordek again. 19 and 10. A 19 is as previous type. A 10 is a hunting ground. So we can already see a big pattern here. What happens if we try to move east now? Come on, stop it. So this could be something that... Oh, I'm on hidden, that's why. This would be less annoying if my mouse weren't double-clicking. Or maybe I would roll what each next terrain looks like to give the players the ability to to see into the next terrain. So maybe I'll go, this one's going to be a 4. 4 is a hill terrain. So that's kind of how that one works. Are we not recording? Yeah, we should be recording. So this is kind of how the system works, to like build things out, and this would require probably a lot of work on the DMs. This would require probably a lot of work on the DM's part. But it's kind of an interesting system. So maybe what I would do is I would use this system to create to kind of like create the world a bit, or maybe I would find a map that I would kind of like, and then kind of superimpose this over it. Maybe it's an interesting system. Just kind of play testing it, but considering how this table's weighted here. Because that mean over here, which would be like the middle, it's kind of the middle of where everything is. Hunting ground is going to be far more common than standard, even though standard has far more slots on it. So maybe I would swap hunting ground and standard on that table, because I've even kind of messed with this table a little bit to get a roll twice on a 1. But it would seem to me that either difficult or standard should be some of the more, like secret should be out on the 20, I think, with resource next in here, standard in the middle, hunting ground on one side, difficult on the other. Roll twice. Maybe if I redid this whole terrain element table a little bit, so and made it more of a bell curve, maybe, because I would want standard more often. This one would be secret. And then we would put, that'd be roll twice. Put difficult here. Feature here. And then you could put hunting ground and resource like that. And then you could probably put this on a bell curve. suffice to say, as our party moved, we didn't roll any encounters because I don't have any encounter tables. And hazards really needs to be made into a table. Okay, so if you're going to be rolling on tables, especially for random encounters, all right, like this. So on a 1 to 50 is nothing. On a 51 to 60, on a 61 to 100, it's going to go to a monster. So that's going to go to its own another encounter table. And 51 to 60 is going to go to hazards. Monster tables over here, they could go to any of the it's implied that goes to any of the tables in the in like the bestiaries or the game mastery guide. That's got some tables in it, but there, to my knowledge, there is no table for hazards, so this goes nowhere. So what that tells me is that this is kind of either vestigial or a system that they didn't have time to finish to actually put in the books, because it gives me some sample hazards down here, and mixed into these, like with the difficult forest terrain, forest or jungle, mixed in here under difficult, there was like a chance for, you know, every hour you spend in here, you get a fallen tree hazard. So like, this either seems vestigial, like it shouldn't be here, or is an expansion they plan to do with but never actually did. So I'm going to have to get all the hazards that they have together in a separate document, and then try to see if I could make those into terrain-specific tables, and see if I have enough there to even include the hazards, as opposed to hand placing all of them on the map. So that's another thing when you start talking about like creating your map and creating things for your players to find. So this was kind of interesting to me. At the very least, it showed me that this table here doesn't work as it by default is, even when I added the roll twice, because, you know, that's a 5% chance of even ever coming up, but this table seems to work. I was rolling majority plains or as previous terrain type, so that actually works really well, or at least it's working as I expected it to work. If I was gonna continue utilizing this table, I would probably remove urban and roll it into probably water, because water doesn't necessarily mean ocean. Water could mean a lake and that sort of thing. And I'm actually fine with leaning it more towards water. After all, like, 2/3 of our own world is covered with water. So that wouldn't be too bad. So this might be worth playing around with in preparation. But I have decided that hazards is something that needs to be, for right now, pulled out, worked on, condensed, and to see what we can do with it. And then the other system in here that I'm iffy about is these modifiers to the hexes. So perhaps what I might have to do is I might have to pull that and condense that into a bunch of different tables as well. So that's kind of interesting when we talk about, especially when we talk about like taking these systems and mashing them together and making them work towards our intended goals. So that's this episode where we took a look at this creating a random hex map system, and that kind of taught us about these tables here just by using it for like a little bit. I'll probably fill out like an 11 by 11 size map, and then we'll explore that next time just to see what it is I was able to generate. Anywho, thank you for watching. This is Arcurus, signing off.